Okay, let's get this video started. Jeff Yentzer, creativemusicgenius.com, and you are a music genius. You are a music genius. Every human, every being is a music genius because music is embedded in the vibration or frequency of the universe, right? The universe is composed of energy that vibrates, right? And we have this, what we call sound, between 20 and 20,000 hertz, the range of human hearing, if you will, the bass down low and 20, right? All the way up to the higher pitched sounds and the harmonics, right? And if we think beyond that, we can think about infinitely above and below the level of human hearing, right? So we can think infinitely up and infinitely down, right? And we get a range of frequencies like galaxies that ride on sound waves that are so slow. They take millions of light years to make one cycle, right? So we can find the harmonics of music and sound and find out why things are harmonious and how they resonate well together and how the whole universe resonates together to make sound in harmony. And what I wanted to do is look at this right here. We got the Q3 inside of Loopy Pro, and I'm playing an A note. Now you'll notice we got all these humps right here, okay? Lots of humps. Now if I close that down and open up this, I've got a tuner that tells me that's around 111 hertz. See, now it's varying a little bit because this is a synthesizer and most sounds do, but it's around 111 because I've tuned to A equals 444, right? And you can see that hovers around that point when I play that high A, right? So let's jump back over here low and look at all these humps. And each one of these humps is a frequency. Okay, so if you look across the bottom of this, you'll see some numbers. And I've got it zoomed in, but between 20 and 20,000 hertz is the range here. And so I'm playing right there would be 111. That'll be the 111 hump, which is what they call the fundamental. That's what we name the sound. We say it's an A, and we give it an octave number, and we say that that's the fundamental, right? Well, we got all these other frequencies here, you know, and this is really where the fascinating thing is. So if I play, what I want you to do is see this third hump. I want you to pay attention to that third hump. And when I play an E, it's an octave and a half higher. Notice how that hump kind of jumped up a little bit. Now if I let go of the A, right, notice how that hump, that same one, see where my mouse is, it persists, it stays on because it's an E note inside of the A note. Isn't that cool? Now I could go on higher and higher and find more notes, right? And these notes are actually close. Some of these notes are very close to what we use when we tune keyboards. They're not exact dead on, but that's a topic. That's a whole nother rabbit hole, right? But you can see that's why the circle of fifths is so fascinating. And it's like a magic decoder ring that gives you the answer because there's harmony built into it because there's an overlap, right, of harmonics. The harmonics, there's some overlap there, and there's some harmonics that are friendly to each other, right? And they're good intervals apart, and they sound wonderful together. And they really are the foundation for a lot of music, right? Some people get bogged down by music theory, but that's why I invented this here, right? That gives you, in the rainbow colors, all the chords that resonate well together, that sound good together, that you can use in a song, and you know it's going to sound harmonious in some level, right? And you can experiment with different ones, right? Come up with instant songs, come up with endless instant songs just by picking from here. Or if you wanted to go to the black side, the dark side, right? You could start picking some of these chords from over here and give it some spice, give it some mood, give it maybe some sadness or darkness, or right, or maybe just a rocky feel, you know, depending on where you go over here, right? And I made this thing so you can explore the modes, which I'll talk about in some other videos. There they are listed in order of brightness, but you can see, you know, I'm in the key of A, and if I start at 1, right, now check it out, right, these are all the notes in the scale of A major, right, all the colored ones, right, so if I start at A, and I skip 1, I end up at B, which is 2, right, the second step of the scale. If I skip 1, right, I end up at 3, which is this, it's going to be C sharp in this case, right? And if I skip another one, okay, I'm going to skip until I get to the color. And I end up on D, and then I skip again, and I end up on E, which is the 5th, right? It lines up with these numbers here, right? This was the 4th, this was the 5th, right? That's the perfect 5th, right? This foundation, right, of these two notes can really give you the keys to the kingdom when it comes to playing music and being able to play well without having to study endless hours of music theory. I mean, 3 cheers for music theory. I love it. It's produced a lot of amazing music over a long period of time, right? But there's more than one way to learn music. And so this circle of letters, right, there's codes in here, and this gives you the answer. Like, what if you wanted to find, right, an A major chord, right? You could just double the skipping. What if you double the skipping, like you're skipping down the street and you're going to double skip? Okay, so we start on A. We skip 1, but let's skip again, and we end up at C sharp, right? That's the 3rd. That's part of my major chord. That's the next note, my A major chord, right? We got A. We got C sharp, right? Now, let's see if, right, we see it showing up right there. Now there's a weak harmonic there, right? And we'll find that if we're dealing with equal temperament, which is a whole other rabbit hole, that those two would be close in pitch, but not exact. Okay, so anyways, we got a 3rd, right? Now, what do? We skip, so we're going to skip over that one. We're going to land on D, but then we're going to skip again. And we're going to land on E, which is the 5, the perfect 5th, right? I told you, that's the foundation of major chords, minor chords, all these other chords, except for a few, have a root and a 5th, right? Which you saw over here to have an amazing harmonic relationship. Okay? So, but you know what? We could keep going. Right, so if we were on E and we said, let's skip, you know, and skip again, we end up on G sharp, which is the 7th, right? Right, the major 7th, right? Which is what we have here spelled out in our chord wheel under A. This gives us, you know, all the 7th options for the different types of chords, right? And the Roman numerals, of course, tell you if it's major or minor, right? And so we got all these options here for chords, right? But if we keep going, right, let's, so we're going to come back and skip that, and we'll land right back on the root again. But we skip again, we end up where on this B, which is the 2, which we've been to this before, but you know what? It's the 9 also, right? Actually, we skipped this one the first time, right? It's in the scale, but it wasn't in the major chord, right? But we come around again and we pick up that 9th. So now we got our 7th and our 9th. Now, what if we just skip again? And we go to this one and skip that one and come over here to this D, right? And we got the D, which is also the 11th, or the sus4. You can see, this thing just goes on and on with the different things that it spells out. So I'll do some other videos with the modes and how this thing spells out the modes to you and gives you all of that, the chords and the notes. And it's great fun. Jeff Yentzer, creativemusicgenius.com with Rainbow the Unicorn. Rainbow the Unicorn. Rainbow the Unicorn. By the way, on my Patreon site at the Creative Genius level on my Patreon site, you can get an ebook that has screenshots of this, plus like some demo videos and that kind of thing, and how to use it and some create some songs on the fly. And if you join at the Time and Rainbow level, I'll send you one of these in the mail, and you can play with it and turn the dial and stuff. It's great fun. Thanks for watching.